You hear me? I hope I'm not so low, man. But DDP, man, go ahead and tell them what episode it is and where they can find you. All the good stuff, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, this is episode 19 of Dallas Prospect Live. Today, let's see, what are we going to talk about today? We got some Dak Prescott doing the ESPN circuit and everything, talking about his potential new contract. Alan Hearns setting himself aside as the clear-cut number one. Zeke, more so Jerry, saying he trusts Zeke as much or more than he trusts himself. And figured we'd talk a little Chris Richard, what we thought about his elevation and everything. There's a lot of buzz around him that he's like the next head coach in waiting, not necessarily for Dallas, but that he is bound for a head coaching job.
I didn't see that article there, so one of you guys are gonna have to entertain me on that because I definitely didn't see that article. I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, actually, yeah, DDP Tracker actually posted it where he said he was kind of be a coach and wing, and I think he's going to be more of a hot commodity, especially if we do good on the defensive side of the ball. If we have a really successful season, which I think we will on the defensive side of the ball, everybody's going to be trying to pull from, which I think makes it even more for us to just go ahead and just lock him in, but we'll see. I don't want to jump with the coaching thing, but we will going to have to pay him some money, just like they did with those other guys before when they kept Marinelli when he was the hot ticket, when Scott Linehan, when we had the 2014, the 2016 season, everybody was talking about the offense. Then people talking about Linehan being a coach again. And then you go from 2016 where Linehan could be a coach again to next year where it's like, we don't even want this dude. So how quick the tide turns that quick in the NFL.
That's something else, man. So it's going to be one of those things where I'm really just want to see how this defense play. For as far as anything for somebody to say, hey, he's going to be the coach, he's a coach in waiting. I just want to see some results. Everybody got reasonings, but I want to see results, and that's winning. And I love the fact that when Dak Prescott said earlier on Undisputed or to one of those guys that I'm not really go hung on stats. I just care about the W's. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm worried about. I just want to get the W. What about y'all, man?
Yeah.
However they get it, man, I've said this for a while now. Even if Garrett can get them to a damn Super Bowl, as much as I dislike him as head coach, I don't care. I'll take it. Like I will eat crow if Garrett can actually do that, and I won't complain about it. If he can do it, great. But nothing I've seen suggests that he's able to do it. He's a coach that works when everything's going well. He can do it, or not necessarily do that, but he can be fine. But as soon as anything starts getting wobbly on that car, back tire starts getting wobbly, whole thing just flips into a ditch every year. It seems like.
No doubt, man. James, what you got, man?
Hey.
Ram this thing back up, man. I know you had these off.
I'm gonna try to leave Garrett alone. I've been smacking the hell out of Garrett for the last year, and like I said, I'm gonna just try to leave him alone and be positive because I'm gonna look at the positives of our team. Obviously, it was a negative when we had David Irvin with the situation losing them the 4 games because those are big games. We're playing the Panthers, the Giants, the Seahawks, and the Detroit Lions. So those are going to still be 4 formidable teams that's going to hurt us. I seen you play the video law with Dayton Jones. I like Dayton Jones, but we still have to understand he wasn't a first-round pick, second-round pick. And you don't lean on those first, but obviously there's a reason why. Okay, there is a reason why. We got guys that are unknown, so that's a little bit of a worry now, especially on the defensive side, that middle, because we never had that big stout guy in a very long time. Regardless, now we're going to be going into some unknowns and kind of no-name guys, so that puts a little bit more leeriness now in the defense, but I do trust Ron Marinelli can get those guys up, and I'm still excited to see. I'm really excited to see Van Der Esch. I think you posted it. I posted as well with Jalen Smith was talking about Van Der Esch, and just seeing Van Der Esch next to Jalen Smith, and Jalen Smith is a big dude. Jalen Smith is a worked up dude, and Van Der Esch is just looking hulking over him, and I'm just like getting excited. Like I'm liking the Van Der Esch kid. I'm liking the secondary. I'm liking Xavier Woods. I think Xavier Woods, we got him for a reason. When we were going to we kind of looked at him when they were going to get him in that 4th round when they went up and got Ryan Switzer. They were looking at him. He was a playmaker in college. You showed the tape, the law that I mean, I was on him, and then I seen the tape. It was just like, this dude can be good. You don't get 14 freaking interceptions in your career and not be good. I mean, there's a reason why you're doing it, and I think he's a playmaker. And just I think we have swag now. I think we just have confidence, and we getting cockiness, and just listen to the guys saying they're having fun in practice now. That's a big thing to me because you weren't hearing about these practices like that before. Listen to the years before. You weren't hearing about these guys flying around and said they were enjoying and loving and having practice. And we got all these young, fresh dudes. That's what I'm excited about. And I'm excited because I feel like this is Dak's team. They built it to be Dak's team. And I feel like he's going to relish the challenge. And in the 2 years, he had a little adversity last year and he still didn't fall off. So what are we to think that he's going to fall off now? And this is his team and he's worked his butt off. And he says, I'm about them W's. And I believe him because his whole career from high school to now, he's been a winner. It's been proven.
Yoga Flame.
Yo got fire.
Yeah.
Shout out 901 Cowboys Mafia. Dude's a truck driver, but always listens to us whenever he's on break when we go live.
Shout outs.
Mafia, man. Shout out to you, man.
Mafia.
Don't forget, man. We got a podcast too as well. So if you on that road and you can't keep your eyes on us, man, you know we got those lovely faces. Then just hit up that podcast, bro.
Dallas Prospect Live on the Dallas Prospect iTunes page. You can get it there, or Google Play if you have Android as well. So, or just SoundCloud if for whatever reason that's the direction you want to go. But yeah, if ever you miss us live, I always upload the thing the next day, the MP3 of it up to the podcast setup. So we got you there, man.
Yes, indeed, man. And I love the fact that you brought in all this fire, Big Game James. But I just want to get your raw emotions, your raw feeling on David Irvin. I know it's a long topic that we have talked about time and time before, but I just want to hear from you, David Irvin.
I mean, David Irvin, this is what I really feel in my heart. I said a little bit on Silver and Blue Nation, and I feel like David Irvin is a good kid. I feel like he is a good kid. I feel like he is a genuine person. I'm going to give him kudos for getting his daughter because that's not easy. I have been through a marriage. I've been through my kids' custody, all that. It's not hard. It's not easy to get your kids as a man. That's one of the hardest things to do because you have to honestly prove the mother is unfit. So for him to get his daughter and then get her from out of a state, big ups. But in saying all this, I feel like you're lazy. I feel like I don't feel like you really love football, especially when I heard that interview and saying this stuff is bigger than football. It is. I get it. But you know what? We all got to punch the clock. We all still got a job to do. And I can have those same problems in my life. How is he different? Is he the first man to ever go through a custody battle?
No.
He's not the first man to go through a custody battle. So this isn't something that we haven't seen before in our lives, right? And then didn't you post law when it says that if they have an extenuating circumstance, that if they let them know ahead of time that they can reschedule a surprise test?
Right, with document proof. If you
proof.
Yeah.
So, and then we also seen the steps each, first, second, third, how many chances you get before you even get put in there. So obviously you know what's going on, David Irvin. So you've obviously had more than one step prior to this. You put yourself in the program by getting popped with PEDs because you said you didn't know what you were doing. I don't believe that, because as a grown man, you should know, because you play the game of football, what you're putting in your body. All these other players do. There's a lot of other players that are doing this and they're not getting into trouble. So that's why I can't give you the excuse. I can't give you the excuse as a grown man. I'm going to give you the props of getting your daughter, but I'm not giving you the excuse as a grown man and supposed to be a leader in that locker room. And when people say, oh, Sean Lee threw him out. No, Sean Lee don't never say nothing about nobody. And I'm saying he don't never say nothing about nobody. But what he's saying to you, David Irvin, is we need you. We need you in the building because you're that much of importance to us, and you're still doing the same things. I see him at practice. I see him jogging. I don't see him playing hard. He plays hard on the field. Okay. And that's what he said himself. He says, nobody's saying nothing when I'm on that field. But you know what? It's bigger than that, because you got to show practice habits. Those other people look under you. Those rookies that come underneath you and they see how good you are. They watch and they look to see what you do. And if you're going to continue to be like that, that makes a bad vibe to the rest of the players of the team. And you can't keep on coddling this dude. We said it time and time again. We coddle. Well, how long we going to keep coddling? Because he's 6'7", 290 pounds. I get it. He's an all-world talent. But at the end of the day, how long we gonna give the excuse? I'm not saying cut the man because you're gonna need him these 12 games. But at the end of the day, as I said before, you get that dude Rolando McClain contracts. I'm gonna give you a year deal every single year until you prove that we can trust you. And until I can trust you, you're getting a $3 million 1 year deal. And you mess up, you're not getting none of that money, and that's your fault.
Yes, indeed, man. I need some flame emojis out there, man.
Yo got fire.
Some fire. Yes, indeed. DDP, man, what you got, man?
Oh man, on David Irving, or are you talking about?
Well, we already talked about David Irving, but if you want to go and elaborate on it, you can, or we can move on to the next topic.
DDP said shit.
Shit. What's that boy from The Wire? What's that boy name from The Wire?
Shit.
Shit. That guy from The Wire used to always say shit.
Pretty well hit on that whole topic there. Dude had multiple opportunities to reschedule the test. I get the whole thing about off the field stuff and being a distraction, but he had opportunities to reschedule this. And what really burns me up is him talking to the media and basically saying all this is behind him and he's ready to move forward and there won't be any other distractions. And then the next morning for them to have the thing come out, like it's not like he and his team didn't know this was going to be coming out. Like this is basically just like, oh yeah, and that too. Like that's also in the past now. Like don't worry about it. Like that doesn't build trust at all. Like if you're gonna come out and say like, look, I know this has been a distraction. I'm just ready to be here and to be focused. Well, now you're suspended 4 games. How are we supposed to focus? Now you're an even bigger distraction because before we were just lamenting you missing like 3 weeks around the team during mostly voluntary workouts, a little bit of mini camp stuff as well, but now we got to worry about not having you for the first month of the season. Who all do we play in that first month? We got Carolina, we got New York,
Seattle, and Detroit, and all those teams are going to be fun with them.
Yeah, exactly. Those are all guys that we need to see there. Let me see here. I got people in the chat saying they can't hear me.
All right, so you know what? When you streaming and you got it streaming like that too as well, Google have a hard way of deciphering which mic is going to use for which program. That'd probably be what it is if it's not using real stream.
Let me check.
It's the little Google thing.
It says the Google thing. It's the Google gang.
You got to go with one or two.
Google gang.
Shout out to No Dak Ninja talking about it's the YouTube Illuminati in this thing.
It says the YouTube Illuminati.
All over my body.
I love everybody in YouTube, man. First of all, they have the best names ever in the world. Y'all have the best YouTube names in the world, and I just want to give y'all props.
Hey, I want to nominate, man, Cowboys Crunk. He just won the YouTube name of the day.
You Cowboys Crunk.
That's his name with an exclamation mark at the end. So,
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, sounds back. There's incognito. That brother been dropping me every type of information he can find. Articles.
Incognito. He be on it.
He be on it, man.
He be on it. I love it. I remember him because I remember he came as soon as we asked him questions. He came back like bleep.
Hey, and then it's a different thing when you start spitting out facts, but then when you start putting like paperwork too with it, I'm talking about like, hey, Law, here's the article,
Yeah, that's more. Like, that's when the respect comes. I'm like, okay, anytime he say something, I'm gonna kind of listen to you.
You have won a level,
You on level 5.
Yeah, level 5. Are we back together, guys, in the chat box?
Yeah, let's see. Can you guys hear me? Comment in the chat
I'm free.
The Laws page and if you're in the Dallas Prospect page. Let me know if you guys can actually hear me.
I hear you great.
Yes, I hope they didn't miss all the fire you was delivering, man. Big Game J.
Yeah.
They saw some fire emojis,
Yeah, they can hear you guys. It's in my chat. They said they couldn't hear me, which was interesting.
He said, which was interesting.
Shout out to all the hen drinkers out there, man. Where y'all hen at?
Henny.
And the Remy Ma and all those, that's out there. They say can't get it right. He said can't get it right. You know that guy's name, right? He said Law talk about the linebackers, and trust me, I'm still waiting to see who's going to emerge from the strong side. I already know what Jalen Smith going to do, and I know what, we already know what Sean Lee is going to do too as well. We just got to figure out what's the Sam is going to be about, and I know we got hype on paper with LVE as far as his size and physical stature, But I'm really ready to see what's going to happen during this training camp, and especially during preseason. See if these guys are going to fly out to the ball and see how they're going to fit well into the not Rod Marinelli system, the Chris Richard system.
Right.
That's the better one for sure.
Yeah.
All right. It sounds like their audio is better in my feed at least, so that's good. I think there's a slight background echo of my voice, but I don't think it's as bad now as it was before.
Yeah. So hey, man, are we good? People in the chat box, man, let me know.
I think we're good. Think
right,
so.
So what's the next topic of the day?
I mean, just to expand on them linebackers.
Okay.
I mean, I like to see, we got LVE. I want to see what is really going to pan out to maybe like a week 7 or week 8. Is Jalen Smith still going to be that Mike? I would like to see if LVE going to take over that Mike because of the size factor. I mean, the 6'4.5", 260 pounds. That's the Rolando McClain size that we loved, and I mean, that's the big thing that McClain brought to the table was that size and that physicality. That changed our whole defense in my eyes. That's the linebacker that we have been waiting for in my eyes for so long, and that's why everybody loved Rolando McClain for even how crazy and silly he acted. We still wanted him. Even if he was getting caught with the lean, we still wanted him because as soon as he stepped on the field, he changed our whole defense. Factual. You see what I'm saying? So we're still, I think that the Cowboys were enamored with that size with Van Der Esch, and I'm not gonna lie. There was a clip or a tape that they had a lot of his games. I know it's just highlights, but a lot of the highlights when I was watching him, when he sees it, he explodes. And for that size to have that kind of speed and exploding, and when he wraps up the ball carrier, he wraps up. You don't get away from him, and he uses his size and is forced to put you on the ground. And I think that's going to be huge for us. And I really would love to see him switch to that Mike, and I like to see Jalen switch to that strong side and really see him come off that edge and attack people with that good straight line speed. And then, like I said, we don't know what's going to happen with Damian Wilson. I said he could be a bubble guy, but he's been starting in the lineup because of bringing Van Der Esch and, had the ankle injury. But that Marsh Lillard kid has been showing up. Brian Broader's been saying everywhere the ball's been, the more time he's getting on the field, he's showing up everywhere. You still got the guy from a linebacker from Green Bay. What's his name? Joe Thomas. We'll see what happened about him. And then you got Covington, who we drafted out of Indiana. I thought it could be just a special teams guy, but he's looking like him. I mean, he's got good size anyway, about 6'2", 240. So he's got good size. So it's going to be a good battle to see what happens. And I'm anxious to see because I just want to see our linebackers flying across and flying around. That's the biggest thing I want to see about these guys. And I think Ben Bloom, who is our new linebackers coach, they really like him because he's a teacher. And I think, that's one of the biggest things that the Cowboys brought that I was excited about. I thought that, they were kind of saving Garrett and Linehan, but they really came in and brought some good some good assistant coaches. That Alexander guy from the Bengals, I love his spirit. Just listening to him talk to the line, I feel like the line loves him. I feel like there's a genuine love between them and they want to do good for him. The line was already good. And then when you get a coach that's like genuine and whole, I'm telling you, it changes everything. It changes the atmosphere. And then you get Sanjay Lal, who's teaching. You get Beasley saying, we're finally getting taught. We're finally getting taught. You get Richard, when you see what he's doing, teaching, enthusiasm. It just breeds this camaraderie and it breeds winning. And I'm ready to see it.
Yes, indeed, man. You spitting fire, man. They saying so much knowledge, man. You pouring a lot of knowledge on there. So this is the thing, the weakness of a cover two. Slants, middle seam routes. This is the weakness of cover two. And when you playing cover two, your Mike linebacker control most of that because you normally do a slant cross the middle. So what a linebacker have to do is backpedal off his stance. We understood last year that Jalen Smith, he didn't have that foot that you really want to explode backwardsly. You know what I'm saying? And still have your vision and your eyes towards the quarterback, spying out there in the backfield and exploding and reacting to the ball. I call it the 3 R's or 3 R's: read, react, and relate. So if you're not able to do those R's out there as a middle linebacker, you tend to lose a little bit off production-wise. The crazy part about it is that there were some games out there that Jalen Smith was leading the team in tackles. That's not a good thing. But that's how Rod Marinelli was playing his DBs so far back to give these DBs chances to make a play on the ball. But no, we're going to trash all that, and we're going to have the DBs playing up tight up front on the line. And still, with this linebacker, with the Mike linebacker, what I really want to see Jalen Smith do is see if he can backpedal off his stand instead of turning his back sideways to the ball or sideways to the opposition to make the play on the ball, because you lose a little space out there. So hopefully, and I mean hopefully, it's put together. If not, you move into, like you said, Sam, the strong side. We all know that LVE can cover like you know what out there in space. So we really want to see what's going to happen during this training camp and ready for preseason 2 as well.
Hey, I'm like I said, you know, you remember when we were down in Texas, Law? Well, I was down there. You already lived there. I came down there. We kicked it, had a good time. But, you know, it's just like I said, LVE has grown on me, and that I think he's really going to show up. And I think his attitude, I think, is really what's really grabbed me more than anything. He looks like a studier. He looks like a guy that wants it. He wants to get good. And you know, a lot of guys, you know, when they come with the Cowboys, the star means a lot to them. And to get drafted by the Dallas Cowboys seems like it meant a lot to him. So a lot of those guys take pride in that, playing for the Cowboys, and they really want to make their mark, because when you get made in Cowboys history, is something special when you go down as a Cowboy great. You feel what I'm saying? So if I was drafted by the Cowboys and I love the team, I want to go down as a great. I want you to always remember me. I don't want you to ever forget I ever played for the Cowboys. So I think he has that type of mentality. And then you're learning from a Sean Lee, who's nothing but one of the greats right now. And then soaking up Jalen Smith year 2, and just like you said with that great analogy, I want to see him just straight backpedal now, open that foot all the time to try to kind of like drag it to kind of use it as a crutch, like you're leaning on the other foot every time. So it's going to be interesting to see. They said he hasn't been using that brace, so I'm just excited to see what these guys are going to do. The thing I really just love, Law, is that we're average age around 25.6 years old.
Yep.
That is huge. We only had 3 guys on the team that are 30 years old, and one of our guys is a long snapper, a place kicker, which they can play forever. He's only 30, Dan Bailey. And then you got Sean Lee, who you look at his career, he's been injured a lot, so he hasn't really have a lot of wear and tear on his body. So if he really stays healthy, you could see him playing a few more years at a very high level, because he's such a smart player.
He's had some tear for sure. Not a lot of wear,
definitely
but
had some tear in that.
Had some
he had
tears.
some tear in them knees, but you know, like I said,
I get you.
You're still resting the whole time, even though you're rehabbing. You're still resting that body. You're not getting hit all the time, so you're still saving a year on your body, even though you took something off of that.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, man.
I'm curious.
Hey, shout out time.
Okay,
man.
yeah.
Shout out to Neil Hyde, man. Thank you for joining in. Lawfully.
Shout out.
Lawfully, yeah. Shout out to you. Italian Cowboys, Jerry Reese in the mix, man.
Italian Cowboy always doing his thing.
Yes, yeah.
Mrs. Scouting Pro.
I don't know. I'm not on anything. I'm just kind of flowing off y'all. Please.
Oh man, off your mind. Who you got, man? Who you just want to give a shout out to?
Well, if you know my peoples, there's too many. I don't know. There's way too many. Like I love all y'all. Let me just say that I love, and they know who I'm talking about. How about that?
Yeah. I got some here. Shout out Mrs. Scouting Pro, Sky High 22, Anthony Smith. Yeah. Let's see, Chia. I already gave 901 Cowboys Mafia a shout out.
Mafia.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I'm curious. What were you guys' thoughts? I think it came out when Dak was on the kind of ESPN circuit this week, talking with guys. His confidence, basically, in how good the team is going to be next year. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, historically, we tend to do better when our expectations are low. Historically, being the last, well, let's just say this millennium, that we tend to be better when expectations are low. So do you view it as a good thing, or how do you view it basically with Dak saying that the Cowboys are going to be really good and really special this year?
Man, I just look at it like he got that cool, calm composure, out there. He was taking every question and he was owning it. And then he also gave himself a self-inventory on one of those days. He was saying that, hey, last year I gave myself a C, and I know I need to improve on this, that, and this and that. So I love that aspect of his talk track. And then also he did lament the fact that, hey, with Dez Bryant gone and Jason Witten, I think we have opportunity for these newer guys to come into the mix and spread the ball around. So I was telling people, just go ahead and get your Photoshop skills together and put a butter knife in Dak Prescott's arm and then make the football butter, because he's going to spread this thing all the way around on everything out there. It's going to be one hell of a dish this year, guys.
I was really wondering where that analogy was going for a moment.
Spread, baby. Get the butter knife and just spread them. Shoot.
Spread them. Some kind of spread with a butter knife, because you ain't stabbing somebody with a butter knife.
Yeah. So see, now it's still PG friendly. You know what I mean? PG-13 friendly.
Yeah.
I ain't saying an OJ knife. You know what I mean?
James, what were your thoughts on that whole situation? Just Dak's interviews in general, I guess. Doesn't have to be that. Could be anything else noteworthy he said, like with regard to his contract even.
Well, I don't want to sound biased, but I love Dak. I loved when we drafted him. I loved everything about Dak. I knew he wasn't going to be a guy that was going to throw for all kind of yards, but I felt in my heart he was a winner. That's just the biggest thing to me, was he was a winner. And you don't have to have all those great stats to win games. You don't have to have all that to win games. But when you're a winner and you're a leader, those can get you over the hump and get you to the Super Bowls and win those championships. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I envision. So I love his confidence, and I feel like Dak is the guy that looks at that stuff like, okay, you want to keep talking trash about me? You want to say I fell off? You want to say this? I'm okay.
Yeah.
And he says everything in a respectful manner. He talks like a leader, man. We should be.
Oh, yeah.
How can you not be excited? You know, I listen to these Cowboy fans, which piss me the hell off, and they dog Dak, blah blah blah, saying all this dumbass stuff that don't even make no damn sense. Oh, he can only throw 5 yards. That lets me know you're an uneducated sports analysis. Anything. Don't ever say no sports around me. If you're gonna say the 5-yard thing, just shut the hell up. I'm done talking to you.
Right.
But anyway, it's just like, you got to sit there and see that when he carries himself in these interviews, he doesn't take the bait. Skip was trying to bait him the whole damn time. He didn't take the bait. He talked like we wanted to talk as a leader. And everybody was worried about, how's he going to speak? He speak just like we wanted to speak. And he speak like I want him to speak as a quarterback. Yes, we're going to surprise some people. Yes, we're going to show a lot of people. We're going to prove a lot of people wrong, because I know in his own heart he wants to prove a lot of these critics wrong that say he fell the hell off. Because you don't think he heard that? Because you went from a top 100 player, top 100 player, to not even being on the list.
Yeah.
And then they put Russell Wilson up. They put Russell Wilson up there.
You put Cam Newton, like I said.
Yeah, and Cam Newton.
And I know I'm not saying Cam Newton ain't no all-world talent. I know he is, so I ain't even saying nothing like that. Ain't no disrespect to no Cam Newton. He's a dog. But what I am saying is, when you look at them damn numbers don't lie. His numbers were better than his. If I seen Marcus Mariota, his numbers were better than his. His numbers to Jameis Winston, he was only 200 yards less, and Jameis Winston only had more touchdowns, but he was still doing his thing. You didn't see that kind of a drop-off. He didn't drop to 68 completion percentage to like 57. It was at 62. That's still respectable. You still had more touchdown to interception ratio, and you seen the tape. We watched the games. There was at least 4 of them that came off these receiver hands, so you can't really blame him for those. So I'm just really tired of it. I'm ready for him to really take control of this offense, and I don't see a regression. I don't see Dak Prescott falling off. He hasn't in his whole career. Why is he going to do it now?
Yeah, for me, I think what really drove me nuts about that is the people who criticized Dak from those interviews, like regarding, he says the team is going to surprise people this year and they're going to be good. Like, what do you expect him to say? What do you want him to say? We're going to be awful. We're going to be really hard pressed to replace Dez. I don't see us making the playoffs. We would rip him apart for saying that. We'd be like, dude,
is that our leader?
Yeah, he hadn't even gotten a training camp, and he's sending the message to the entire team that, like, we're not any good. No, that anyone criticizing Dak for saying how good they're going to be, I think that's completely ridiculous. And even with regard to his contract situation comment, what was the worst thing he said? Basically just saying, I know that, if I play well, they're going to take care of me. Oh, gasp. How dare he? How dare he have the audacity to say that a player who plays well is going to get paid? I mean, it is ridiculous. The people who criticize him, they can't be satisfied. They can't be satisfied regardless of the stats, because if the stats were bad, that would be all they pointed to, right? Instead, they say, well, the stats aren't what's important. The stats aren't the thing. They don't tell the story. And there are some times when numbers don't tell the entire story, but to discredit everything he's done on his resume, not just the stats, even just offensive rookie of the year, most wins ever by a rookie. To discredit all of that and say he's crap because in 8 games they struggled and he struggled is ridiculous. You're discrediting more than 20. You're discrediting 25 full games of resume before that just because you want to discredit the guy and you're looking for any crack in the armor you can expose.
Hey, that's fire, man. And
Yeah.
I don't have nothing to say on that.
Neither do I. That's when you say, well,
Yes.
well,
Amen.
man. What you drinking, DDP?
This is a nice old fashioned.
Oh, I like
Old fashioned. That's what I'm
Yes,
talking
sir. That's my drink of choice. Oh, 901 Cowboy Mafia. Yeah, he's talking Baker Mayfield thinks they'll do well this year. Yeah, no, every quarterback in an interview is going to say that. And I know he did the circuit too. I'm an OU guy, so that's my guy. So that's my quarterback.
I mean, like I said, I'm excited for the year because I'm just, the only thing that I'm leery of, that's the only thing I'm leery of is the Garrett situation, the Garrett effect. I'm just the only thing I'm leery of that because I just feel like, other than that, I feel like our team is primed and ready to make a run, even with low expectations. I feel like we have the team to do it. I know we don't have like the dominant players, maybe some of these other teams, but I feel like we got a really good team. I feel like this young team, the assistant coaches I just really feel like the assistant coaches are going to make a huge difference. And the reason why I say that is because when I hear Cole Beasley saying that Derek Dooley didn't teach him anything and that he basically just let him go on their talent, and then when I see Dez Bryant disrespecting him like that, that lets me know that nobody listened to you, nobody respected you. So you basically weren't teaching anything. So that's why when I see the games now, when I see the teaching, now the games make sense. When I see things
like
happening, now it makes sense. When I see Joe Baker getting promoted to secondaries coach, and then after 1 year you're fired, it starts to make sense when I hear Anthony Brown saying, we weren't really worried about technique. We were just kind of playing in the spot. We were just kind of playing, and then they're like, what do you mean you didn't know? He's like, no, I wasn't saying like that. No, you did say it like that because I heard it. So you were just wondering?
Yes.
No assignment? When I listen to Sean Lee and he's talking in that Giants game and he's busting out the coach right there, he's telling you what's going on. I'm looking at that like, I wonder, okay, now I get it. Now I see why we lost those games we should have won, because of that coaching. It wasn't doing its job and it failed us. And that I don't feel like it's going to happen this year, because now we have guys that are really teaching the game, and it's going to make a difference when guys are really being taught. Because when you're being taught, you're more into it when you're being fed the right way. When somebody's not really teaching, you tend to just go and waver and do whatever you want, and that makes undisciplined. And then in the clutch parts of the game, when it's a 3rd and 4th down, we're not disciplined enough because it's not happening in practice, and it shows up in the games.
The game is that's when it shows up. And then when you got things like that, the second half adjustment. If you guys never saw All of Nothing, figure out find a way to watch All of Nothing, and you'll see that second half adjustment. Or just go back and get the NFL Game Pass, that All of Nothing, and also that you'll see where we just didn't make the adjustments. But shout out to Brandon Newkirk for making the donation to help grow the nation. Man, how many Super Bowls we got?
5.
He gave us $1 for each one.
I like it.
Law line. Shout out to Big Game James, DDP, and my brother from another mother. No other. I don't look like Danny Glover, but I keep it cool for you guys. He said he live from NC. He might be at that North Carolina game.
All right,
I know
we're
you're gonna be there.
You don't make sure you shout outs. I'm gonna be there. Tailgate.
All day.
All day.
Law might not look like
Mama T gonna be there. We're gonna try to have the show. I'm gonna try to get there like the day early. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know if she listening or not, but I'm gonna try to just roll up on the crib, because she always talking. She cooking that good ass food. So we just gonna roll up, bring the cameras and all that. Just roll up in there, do a show. Probably just like a show, like up in her crib. You feel me? And just eat up the food while we doing the show. And then this, you know what I'm saying? Go to the game, tailgate. You feel me? Trying to get it crunk this year, Law. You feel me? We're trying to have a good time. We're trying to give y'all, like you said, the best. We want to show you from our eyes. I seen it from Chris Berman and all them guys, eyes and Joe Theismann in them when they was. I seen it through their eyes. But you know what? I looked at my eyes and I feel like my eyes are pretty good too. So I want to get to that closeness and let y'all see the real stuff. Because when they on TV, I feel like they ain't telling us the real. They telling us because the producers are saying it and this and saying it. Nah, you gonna get it raw and uncut what you see. If that passer right there, he sucks.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, tell Mama T to make you some smothered poach.
Oh, she said she be getting it in, and I believe her.
I can't wait to see you eat the food. Yeah. I know I ain't gonna be able to. What's the next topic, bro?
What are your guys' thoughts on the report? Basically, Jerry's quote, I should say, from the other day, saying that he trusts Zeke more than he trusts himself. That's a pretty low bar to set, I feel.
Very low.
I mean, I've seen those bathroom pictures of Jerry. I've already know more than I want.
Man, Jerry Jones, boy. He's always twisting the story, man. And hey, Ezekiel Elliott, we know that Ezekiel Elliott lost so much money, guys. As far as sponsorship and other commercials that he can be doing. And they couldn't plaster him all throughout the media like they wanted to, as far as from promotional aspect. And we seeing Dak Prescott getting most of the love. So somehow I'm thinking around week 6, week 7, maybe the sponsors are going to open up to him a little bit more if he can keep his head clean. And maybe he can get something to be out there, you know. But
he'll get that money back. Kobe got it back.
Yeah,
Kobe got it back out. He got them rings too, right? So
but I'm saying though,
are you prophesizing,
I'm
baby?
just saying there's been athletes that if you're like a top dog athlete and you kind of become like humble with it and don't be real like conceited with it, and you come humble, people are more forgiving and they'll let you come back in. You know, if you don't come with the attitude of, you know, when you come with humbleness, and Kobe came with humbleness. I mean, he had the press conference. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people respected that he, you know, he manned up to that. So a lot more people forgave him. That's what them endorsements see. And people will be more forgiving if they watch you because they seen you come like, look, I messed up. I made a mistake. People were more forgiving. And those sponsors are definitely coming back to Zeke because, man, Zeke is a lovable dude. When you just look at him, his spirit, I bet you everybody loves Zeke on that team.
Yeah, very infectious energy for sure.
Infectious attitude. When he was at Ohio State, we had a strength and a conditioning coach that was on the show one day, and he said everybody loves Zeke because he was a clown. Everybody had a good time with him. And you know, the big thing that I'm really seeing is, and I really believe it is, I really feel like he is growing into a leader of the team. When I'm listening to him talk, I feel like he really is trying to take over that leadership role, and he understands the process because he played at Ohio State. And when you play at Ohio State, that stuff is really demanded at Ohio State University. I'm here. I see it. It's a big thing out here. So that leadership thing is big. And I feel like he's really going to take that mantle and really show how much of a leader he can be. And I just listen, talk to him. I feel like he's grown from that situation. I feel like he's understood, you know what? I really don't want to do that and get in that any longer because guess what? I do love this game. Guess what? It does mean something to me, and I want to go down as one of the greats. So I don't want to have any kind of side distractions. I feel like he's learned from it. And in a sense, I feel like Jerry is right because Zeke, I feel in my heart, has learned from it, and he's going to move on. And he's about to shine really good this year.
I mean, that's some good stuff, man.
I said 1,712 touchdowns. I think he might get 15 touchdowns, maybe 16.
That's what I want. That's what I want, right?
I mean, what hell? What did Emmett get? What did Emmett get? He got 25.
Man, what's the record for touchdowns in the year?
Isn't it 28?
Come on, let's get 30. Let's put 30.
Is it 30?
No,
somebody give me those stats. I think it's 28 because I think Emmett had 25 then because wasn't LaDainian that beat him?
Thompson
31 is the new one.
He had 31.
So Emmett had what, 28?
Yeah, Sean Alexander beat it first. He beat it, and
he
then
had 30.
Yeah, he got 30, and then LT surpassed that.
Yeah, damn, that's what I said. Remember when we was talking about Sean? I was talking about Sean Alexander, how easy the NFL can spit you out. He went from top dog on the cover of Madden, being the leading rusher, breaking touchdown records, to 2 years going out the league.
Yep, I remember. You remember he had a run with the Redskins.
Yes.
Yeah, that was incredibly forgettable.
And believe it or not,
the Redskins always taking the bums.
Yeah, I can only think of one guy we took from the Redskins and not the other way around, and that would be Alfred Morris.
Right. We don't take their players. We don't want their players. I mean, that's how much I feel like Dallas hates the Redskins, but I feel like you Redskins – it's funny. When I look at Redskins fans, they always talk about they hate us, but I feel like y'all low-key lovers because when I look at your team, anytime we have a player or a coach that leaves us, you guys are the first one on the tip.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, Stephen Bowen, Jason Hatcher, Orlando Skank. I mean,
they even got Deion Sanders back in the day.
Deion Sanders. I mean, you took Bill Callahan from us. I mean, tons of people. I know you probably got some low-level players too.
I think so. They did. I think they snatched some practice squad guys, but it
probably
is what
did,
it is.
because they always be up in our business.
Since we're talking about Zeke and we talked about the suspension last year, James Winston, I know he played for a different team, but they said he was trying to booty grab a Uber driver or something.
Booty rocking everywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't crab legs at this time.
He was going for a 5-finger discount again.
Let him been in Dallas. Let him been in Dallas doing that as a he'd been hung.
It'd be a year-long It'd be a year-long investigation and then a 6-game suspension dragged out over the course of several months.
They said they're gonna suspend him though. Is that true?
Yeah, it already happened. 3 games.
3 games.
Oh, why not 6? Wait a minute. So you can grope somebody and molest them
to be fair, if we're arguing that, Zeke also pulled down the girl's top and punched a DJ in the face. So we can't say it's completely apples to apples here.
Oh man, come on.
But hey, all I can say is this: I'm just glad Jameis Winston is with the Buccaneers and not with the Cowboys.
Yep.
Because you know what, I don't really want to have to deal with that with my quarterback being like immature like that. That's the worst thing to me in the world. Not in the world, but in the football world. Is your quarterback being like that. I like him being that gunslinger type, but when you're immature like that at the quarterback position, your team also suffers with that big time when you have an immature leader like that. And I feel like that's what Winston was.
First round draft pick too as well, right?
Yeah, number 1, right?
He was the number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He was the number 1 overall.
You got a number 1 doing that, and Dak gets crap. I mean, come on.
Right, and he had that follow his whole career. Ever since Florida State, has been these kind of incidents. So as talented as you are, I don't want to deal with that as my quarterback. So I'm glad he's over there at Tampa Bay, and I'm glad we got a guy like Prescott who stays out the media in the wrong way. If he is in the media, I feel like he's showing a respectful leadership role, and it's something that I like seeing whenever he does speak.
Yeah, man, I'm just excited.
Want an eye for an eye. I still want an eye for an eye. He's supposed to get 3 more games. Hell, he's supposed to get suspended for 6 games. They're supposed to have an investigation on again.
He probably wasn't even gonna get suspended, but they probably Dallas was probably like, you better suspend him.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy NFL.
Yeah, I think in Zeke's case, they tell us it was just the one thing. I think honestly, the other stuff had to have at least factored in their mind. Like, we're not gonna say it's that, but we do think there's a pattern. Yeah, I think that's not the year-long thing, because the year-long thing started way before the other incidents that come to mind. But I think that was maybe an influence in it once we actually had the final decision come down. So anyway, I don't know about you guys. I'm excited about week 1 in the Dannon Yogurt Bowl. If you recall, Dak Prescott took the sponsorship from Cam Newton after Cam Newton's sexist comments last year. You remember that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I remember. What did he say?
He basically
about the 9 routes.
Yeah, he was talking with a female reporter, and she asked a very technical question, and he basically chastised her of like, "Oh wow, I'm just not used to females actually knowing anything about this kind of stuff," and basically just gave her like almost like a pat on the head, like, "Oh, that's adorable that you're doing that." It was an awkward interview where it seemed like he thought he was being funny, and everyone just felt uncomfortable. So he got dropped by several sponsors after that, including Dannon, and then they signed Dak to that in October.
This world is so PC, man.
So this will be the Dannon Yogurt Bowl as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
That's crazy.
One gone and 1 gain.
You think I'm kidding? That will be what it says on the thumbnail for our video review. There will be a big Dannon yogurt right there.
If I was the competitor like I think Dak is, if I'm playing in my 3rd year and I have a schedule where I'm playing against Marcus Mariota, who was drafted a year before him, and then you're going against Cam Newton, you're going against Russell Wilson again, you're going against Matthew Stafford, you know what I mean? You're going against these type of guys. if I'm him, I'm excited because I want to prove, and you're going against Deshaun Watson, who they said overtook you. I'm looking at, if I'm Dak Prescott, I do look at that in the paper. I don't care. Nobody telling me, oh, they're saying Watson took over me after 1 year. Yeah, so now he's playing for the Texans. We bang against them this year. I'm ready to shut people up. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm Dak Prescott, I'm on that type of mindset that we ready to come in here. And when you listen to him, he said, yo, we're going to surprise a lot of people. A lot of people don't think we're going to do some things. We're going to surprise. And I think we're going to have some stuff ready for him. We're going to have a very exciting team this year, and people need to understand that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, people want to rake Dak saying that he was a fluke or that it was too small of a sample size to judge him, yet they are so quick to anoint Deshaun Watson and say he's just the next coming. It's ridiculous. How many games did he play last year? 7?
He played 7 or 8.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking half a season, and yeah, I mean,
he is sweet though.
Oh no! I'm not trying to throw him on the bus. I'm saying
I feel what you're saying.
Give Dak credit what she deserves, and also give Watson credit. I'm not trying to say he's trash compared to Dak, because I mean his first few games too, he was a bit rough in there. His first 2 games too. I remember they were talking about his accuracy was all over the place, and he eventually got it sorted out and put up some huge numbers, but people forget about the rest of it.
I still think he's going to be a guy that's going to throw a lot of INTs in the league. I just feel that he is a guy because he's kind of he's one of those type of players that you really haven't seen. You have seen, but you haven't seen. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's kind of an unorthodox type of player. I think he's just he'll throw interceptions just because he's so much of a playmaker. He just might throw them. You know what I mean? But if he throws 2 bad ones, he'll come back and throw like 4 and throw 400 yards in the second half. He's just that explosive. He's that type of guy to me that he's just explosive. He could have a bad first or second quarter and then come out of nowhere and he has that type of game. And that's what I like about Watson. What I love about Dak Prescott, he's just steady to me. I feel like he's just a steady influence. You know what I mean? He just steady. He just gets the job done when we need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. What are your thoughts? And this, to me, I kind of laughed when I saw it the other day. There was I got a Bleacher Report notification telling me that Allen Hurns is the clear-cut #1 receiver in Dallas, and I was kind of like looking around like, yeah, and like haven't we kind of known this? Like the rookies are looking nice, but man, we haven't done anything. We're not even to training camp. Why on earth would one of them have already passed up Allen Hurns?
Right. I think it's a slow period. Nothing really going on but the NBA draft, so they just trying to make it. Let's talk about a little bit of Cowboys.
It always makes me think of like a few years ago. I remember CNN had like some breaking news banner. It was like, breaking news: the Titanic sank 109 years ago today. Like that's literally the opposite of breaking news. Like just slow news day where you're just like trying to throw something flashy out there to get attention.
Yes, indeed. But this is the thing, man. We're going to really see what Noah Brown brings, because how many X receivers we have on this team? Only possible to me personally.
All of them.
Noah Brown. No, I'm talking about they can play.
X, consistently on that outside. All slot. That's what I was thinking.
You think Gallup? You still leaning on Gallup?
I'm still leaning on Gallup. I think Gallup can be that guy. I'd like to win. Like I said, I just happened to watch a Pro Football Focus a while back, and they just had an article on him. And I was like, who is this kid? I just wanted to read on him, and I read about him, and then I just went and started watching tape on him, and things just stuck out to me. His physicality, his crispness in his routes, his hands, his attitude. You could just tell that he had an attitude that he wanted it, and I don't know. You could just see certain players, and they just have an attitude when they get the ball. Like, give me the ball, and I'm going to take this. He had that type of attitude when he got the ball, and he just played real physical, and I liked it, and I liked the size. And I just feel like he could be our #1. I know we got Allen Hurns, and he's done his thing, but he hasn't been a #1 receiver in this league. He hasn't.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a first, second, third, fourth. He was undrafted. And yes, he had a banging ass year when he was in that top 100. Yeah, banging ass.
He had a booty.
Had a booty ass year. But
I couldn't let that one go.
Got him.
Got me. But he came in that top 100, but he still has been injury prone. we have to look at that. He hasn't played a 16-game season in a few years, so we have to look at that. And like I said, he hasn't been a number one, so I still kind of look at that in my eyes. So, and I look at the Gallup kid, and I just think he could be that guy. And when I listen to what they're saying out there, Law, about him, they're really, really high on him.
Yep.
And just because we drafted him in the third, there was a lot of people. He was higher. He had a higher grade than that.
Yeah, he's my pet cat, so I'm just hoping that he can really show up and show out. So
I think he will I think he will by I think for him it'll take towards the end of the year, maybe that home stretch where you start seeing real flashes and you start saying, okay, this is like the next X receiver for us. I think he'll take a little time to get kind of up to speed, but I do think that by the end of the year he'll be kind of challenging at that spot where you're like, man, we might need to give him some more playing time. By the way, Ron Smith says, what's up to both of you guys?
What up, Ron Smith from Utah, repping that Salt Lake City.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Shout out to you, man. And shout out to Justin White and Shiloh, and it makes Chris Longley. Savage Time.
Savage, I like that.
Savage.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah,
and everybody say, hey, Miss Jackie.
Hey, Miss Jackie. We love you.
We love you too, man. Hey, what's going on? What's the next topic?
Ooh, man. Let's see here. Catching me flat-footed.
That's okay. I can still talk about these wide receiver core because I'm really like I said, I'm high on Michael Gallup, right?
Yeah, let's talk really on some of the other receivers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley, inside or outside. Dak was mentioning that the other day. That you'll see him in more spots.
Ain't no way I can believe Cole Beasley is going to catch that ball on the outside.
I'm just telling you what Dak Prescott said.
I know what he said, but I just can't see. I wish I can just believe that part of it. I wish I can. I promise you I wish I can. But I just don't see him playing on the outside. I just don't.
That was the first receiver Dak mentioned.
He's not going to play consistently, but I can see him doing a few plays here and there with him on the outside. I can see him doing trickery with it. But
Tavon Austin and inside, you move to the outside. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
you can have them bracket so you don't know what they're going to do. You could have two of those guys on the outside and slide Noah on the inside. You don't know what's going to happen because you could put Noah in the slot. You can put a Hearns in the slot, having a big receiver. So, Deontay Thompson. He played in the slot as well. So they got a lot of
mix. They got a lot of slot guys. A lot of
guys that make sense. So the battles that are going to be real interesting with this receiver core because Noah Brown nobody's really talked about him, and was a young pup at Ohio State. You know what I mean? And then Lance Lenore, like that was your pet cat the year before, and he has been showing up. He's a big kid. So all the receivers that we have are some nice-sized kids. So it's going to be some good battles that's going on because I think only the smallest receiver is just Austin and Beasley. Now, all the other guys are like 6 foot and up, and they got 200 pounds of big kids.
Yeah.
Hey, man, and guys, I'd like to just apologize for the stream. I know everybody's saying we frozen in space.
Yeah, sorry.
Like hell. Hey, Murphy Law got to step in every now and then too as well.
I just threw up the I just threw up the thumbnail and treat it like a true podcast whenever that starts happening on my channel.
Yeah, I might have to go with a thumbnail, man. I don't know what.
I want to get it set up too, where if we have to go pure podcast beyond just the thumbnail, I want to have like the actual like automatic or animated like audio waves going. You know what I mean? Like the levels bumping up too. That'd be a nice thing too. Just a nice little touch. Oh man.
Yeah. So we all went thumbnail on y'all, man.
yeah. Can't see what's happening here unless you're looking at Law's feed, in which case I am still drinking old fashions.
Yeah. So we talked about Cole Beasley playing on to the outside, and then we forgot to mention about the Boise State insurance guy, Cedric.
Oh, Cedric.
Well, we know he's making the team.
Yes,
yeah. He's got the Boise State bulletproof vest. You get drafted by Boise State, you are staying. Who else did we draft from? Van Der Esch. We got at least 7 guys that came from Boise State. Am I correct?
So are we talking like recent history?
Just in history.
Woo, okay.
Let's say all
play
the way
a game.
From
let's go through the list.
Crawford,
Scandrick, Lawrence, Kellen Moore, Van Der Esch. I'm up to 5.
Cedric Wilson. There's somebody else.
Cedric Wilson. Yep, of course. I mean, do we count Linehan? I mean, he has ties
But
there.
I feel like there's somebody
An actual
else.
player.
I feel like there's one more Boise State player that we have.
We said
It has to be a
right?
defensive player.
Yes.
Somebody help us out in the chat box.
Interesting.
It might
Well,
be. That
six
might
or seven. There's a plethora for sure.
And that's kind of from a one team, and especially it's not like it's a Oklahoma or a Texas or a USC or anything like that. It's Boise State. Not that I'm bashing Boise State because they have a good team. I mean, they put out good teams. They actually, when they start getting good, I actually wanted to watch their games besides looking at that field. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But the Boise State players that have come and played for us, they have done. I know people are going to bash Crawford, but it wasn't Crawford's fault.
No.
That they overpaid him.
And they kept moving him.
And they kept moving him around. That's not his fault. So people got to stop bashing him. People like, oh, cut him right now. I understand, and I probably said it too maybe now and then, but when you see the depth that we need with him, and he's a veteran, you can't lose him this year.
Yeah.
Definitely can't.
Speaking of Cowboy receivers, like we were a moment ago, what are your thoughts on us being, let's see, 68, maybe 69 days? No, 68 days post Des Bryant, and he still ain't got no job. And he insisted in an article I saw earlier today on Pro Football Talk that he has no problem finding offers.
That's that pride talking.
Yeah, but he put a post out looking for a creative graphic designer and creative sketch artist. I don't know what to make of that. That's just in the article as well.
Well, it's the thing as far as maturity level. I think that he kind of
he's 29.
Exactly. But like I said that was the reason. People want to say they talk about the production. Yeah, that was a reason. But honestly, the reason why Dez Bryant, in my opinion, is not with us is because of that maturity. I said it time and time again. I love Dez to forever, but I hate to listen to his interviews. You know why? Because every time he would talk, he'd be like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? No, I don't want to hear when they're talking to you about plays and the game and you can't say a whole sentence. And I'm not disrespecting, but I'm just telling you how I feel. I want somebody to be able to say the whole sentence to me so I can understand what's going on. And that would frustrate me. And he would just still do young things all the time. Even when they said he had grew up, you're still doing young and acting young and not being mature. And like I said, you were never a captain. That is huge to me. You can't be one of the dogs on the team and never be a captain. That's just hard for me, because if you're one of the dogs on the team that we're supposed to be looking for when we need to make a play, that would be one of my captains on the team that are looking forward to make a play. And the whole team is looking at you like, no, because the whole team knows you're immature. The whole team knows. And just you're 29 years old. Somebody said something on Twitter, you erupt just like with T.O. T.O. is a little diva. He always going to be a little diva. I don't care what records he's done. He's a diva. You say one little thing about him, he jumps on Twitter and arguing with you and stuff. Man, please. You know what I'm saying? You too old for that, man. You too old to be battling these people all the time on Twitter, man. Let it go. Grow up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be grown. And that's why you don't have a job, because you are still immature. It ain't about nothing else. Yeah, it might be a little about that declining ability, but it's about that immaturity, and they don't want that problem in the locker room.
Right. And what's also interesting there, I mean, if the maturity is a big part of it, but if injuries never factored in for him, if he hadn't lost a step, or presumably everything we've seen the last 3 years kind of suggests he has lost at least half a step. I think if his production was still 2014 levels, maturity wouldn't matter. They would grit their teeth and bear it. That's just the straw that breaks the camel's back at this point, because now it's like, oh, okay, this isn't worth it anymore. But it's interesting as well, because we don't know where he's going to end up. We think someone will sign him. I think you'll actually see it happen early training camp when someone suffers some kind of injury. Two teams I could see him going to. Both, I think, would require some kind of noteworthy injury first, because it's two teams that believe that they are good enough to compete in any given year. One, Minnesota Vikings. If they lose Thielen or Diggs for any extended period of time, I could see them picking up the phone and calling Dez.
Right.
Two would be the Steelers, and that would be the one that would be really interesting to see just because of that dynamic of, you know, a historic rival and the only team with more Super Bowls than us.
Right. I mean, my thing is the only way I see Dez getting the job in my eyes is just maybe like you said, DDP. I think it's got to be a major injury to one of the top players, and then they'll look to call Dez because he is a veteran, is Dez Bryant. But, you know, like I said, they're not going to do it unless they have to. Unless they have to. If they don't, these teams don't feel like they have to, they're not going to.
Right.
But if there's a major injury, yeah, a call comes. I mean, how many times have we seen it time and time again? These older veterans that are sitting down, nothing's going on. Next thing they receive a phone call week 4 because something's happened and they're in the lineup. That's just the way it happens in the league, and I think that's the only way he gets a contract. I don't know how he should have jumped on that Baltimore deal, but what I do say is that he does have a lot of pride as a person, and he's gonna feel like he's earned worth a certain amount of money. No matter what anybody says to us, I feel like he still feels like he's worth a certain amount of money, and that pride gets in the way. And sometimes that pride gets too far in the way to keep you from doing what you need to do. You don't want to be out there because I'm thinking, like, if you ain't doing football, what you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, he should have took that first deal.
Save that money.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, when you say it's not about the money, that mean that it's all about
it's all about the money. When they say it ain't about the money, it's all about the money when they say that. And we got to understand that a lot of these NFL players end up broke. A lot of them. It's a high percentage of NFL players and sports players as a general because they're used to a certain type of lifestyle. That money gets dry and that contract's not there no more. You're still paying payments. A lot of those guys don't buy. A lot of them lease. So when that money in their check ain't coming, things change. You know what I mean? Those guys that say they weren't trying to pay for, you know, I'm worth $10 million. Now that house payment is due. Now you might have to play for $2 million.
Yeah, because I heard T.O. he was struggling with money for a long time.
And why you think he still want to play? Do you think he just loved the game so much, or do you think he need bread?
He need that butter, man.
He need bread because he paying hella child support.
Yep.
Trust me, child support ain't no joke.
Right. By the way, on that Vikings call out I had, shout out to Mario K. Denna, first dude that introduced that as a possibility to me, and that popped into my head a moment or so after I said it. Like, you know, I didn't come up with that from scratch on that part, so I should give that guy a shout out.
Give it to him.
Yeah, that's my buddy Mario from Dark Avenue, lead singer, who I did the interview with at Mexico about a month ago.
Mexico.
Man, you guys were talking about the T.O. thing. I could easily... How funny would it be? Because we know how petty the writers are who vote for the Hall of Fame and everything, and how T.O. saying he wasn't going to show for the ceremony, how many of them came back and said, like, oh, I wish I could take my vote back. If T.O. were to somehow, during his comeback attempt, get signed, even just like for a camp invite, how quickly do you think they would try and, like, oh, he's an active player, take it back and make him wait 5 years and see if it happens then?
I think they would do it.
I absolutely think they would. I think they hate T.O. so much they would.
Yes, because he's disrespectful. I don't care what T.O. says. I don't want to hear him. I never liked him when he was with the Cowboys. I didn't like him when he was with the Cowboys. I just liked his talent. I never liked him, though, but I like that talent, him winning them games, of course, because we were winning games. And, yes, when he get touchdowns for us, yes, I was jumping up and screaming too, but I still didn't like him. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was just the type of dude, and he just rubbed me the wrong way because I don't care how hard you work. You're still a jerk and an a-hole. That's just what you are. You're an a-hole, and you're a crybaby, and something really happened bad in your life to make you keep doing that. That's crazy, because do you really want that much damn attention in your life that you have to do that? You begged. You act like you didn't, but you begged to get on that Hall of Fame. You was crying all day long about not being in the Hall of Fame, and then they finally let you in and say, I ain't going.
Well,
you sound stupid. That's just my opinion.
And then you got my guy, the original 88, just sitting there. Just sitting there, had to wait all those years.
All them years.
Yeah. You see how long? And then T.O.
I mean, you see how many receivers had to wait long? I mean, it wasn't like Andre Reed, Chris Carter, these dogs, Art Monk, dogs that I watched.
I can tell you, Michael Irvin.
Dogs that I watched. You came in quicker than them, and nobody liked you. And then, but you know what? I said this before. I think me and you were talking about it, DDP, where I said, think about it. who would really stand up and talk for T.O.?
No one was that eager to claim him for the Hall of Fame thing.
Nope. What team is going to claim him?
I think the Cowboys ended up being the one that got appended to him.
Exactly, because the Niners
And
don't.
He had the shortest tenure with Dallas of. No, that's not true. Philly was only like 2 years, and Buffalo was 1. So I guess technically Dallas would be his second longest tenured team.
He couldn't. Who could he retire with?
Played for Cincinnati, did he?
Yeah, he played for Cincinnati. But
yeah,
who
he
would
played for
retire
Cincy one
with?
year as well.
You feel me?
It should be the 49ers, but they're going to
But they don't-
apparently
but they
pin him
don't
to
want him.
Dallas. Yeah, exactly.
They don't want him.
And Jerry, I think Jerry just is like, whatever, one more Cowboy in the Hall of Fame.
Jerry just do it just for the sake of being the Cowboys, like you said, DDP.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, T.O., you burnt all your bridges, bruh. You
Yep.
did, and you know it. And that's just the way it is. And you keep on trying to make it look like it's everybody else. But it's you, and it's always been you. And that's why everybody's going to think this way about you. And I just don't care. I'm glad you're not going up there doing that Hall of Fame speech. Stay your ass home. I don't want to look at you.
Man, but he had a moment in time to just give that speech up to the Hall of Fame of writers and all that stuff. He could have just manned up and got up there and gave the speech.
He's not a man up
true
type person though. He's never been a man up person. When has he ever manned up to anything? He's always blamed someone else his whole damn life.
That's
and
my
you're
quarterback.
44 years old and you're still blaming everybody else.
Does anyone believe his reported 440 time this past week, like a 4.3? What did he claim it was?
Yeah, I saw it.
I don't think I watched.
I could believe it could be close to that because he stays in shape like that. Like there's certain people that can do.
But he
that.
ran a 4.6 coming out for the draft.
I know, but you see how he trains and saying. I'm saying, not saying I believe it. I'm saying it could.
I don't think it was 40 yards.
It didn't look like 40. It looked
Yeah,
like 22.
I wouldn't say that. I would say like 30,
I will.
35. But
I'm gonna say 22.
I mean, his numbers are certainly up there as far as like receptions and touchdowns and all that. There's no doubt he belongs, but the fact that he's been an asshat his whole career has pretty much made it where no one wants to claim him and no one's that eager to, give him any kind of props for anything. And then him acting like a belligerent child when he finally does get this huge honor, that's not going to help change anyone's perception of you. You should be on your victory lap right now, where all anyone wants to say is good stuff about you. How much trash has Jerry Jones caught over the last 22 years? But when he was going on his victory lap for the Hall of Fame, you heard, other than the Zeke stuff, you heard nothing bad. And now T.O. couldn't even do that right. He has to fight people on everything.
Yeah, well, like I said, hey, whatever, T.O. I don't know. I don't really care to hear him in the news anymore. He just wants attention. That's why he gets on TV, needs money, because he squandered it. And I just don't want to listen to him no more. I just don't want to hear about him no more. I just want him to go away.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Just go away.
Here's a fun thing. This is a pivot in topic that I just saw come across that I thought could have some discussion. Jason Garrett rated by odds makers as the 9th most likely coach to be fired this coming season. Do you think he should be higher or lower? I'm feeling like lower. Lower as in closer to most likely.
Most likely being fired.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Jerry Jones.
Jerry loves him.
Jerry loves him, man.
But
Jerry
dude,
loves him.
if they don't make the playoffs this year, can he really continue to stand by him?
No, he'll be fired. He'll be fired if they don't make the playoffs.
Yes.
That's a fact. If he don't make the playoffs, he's getting fired. But if he gets to the playoffs and let's say we lose in the first round, but we play good like maybe we did, not good like we did with Green Bay, but it was competitive the whole way through, I could see Jerry saying, well, let's give him another. I could see Jerry doing that. Now, Stephen Jones, I said it in that little on our Silver and Blue where they asked me about the Jason Garrett thing. I don't think Stephen Jones has the loyalty to Jason Garrett, and that's where I wonder if there's going to be a power struggle like it was with Dez, because I know Jerry didn't really want Dez to go, but I know Stephen did, and we saw what happened. I wonder if this same thing will happen with Jerry, with Garrett, because we have to see that. Look, we're wasting years, and I think Stephen Jones is getting freaking impatient personally, and I think he wants to win that stuff now.
It's been back-to-back years with these coaches, man. They went. Remember Wade Phillips, right? We went through that era, right?
No way.
Then we got Jason
Wade should have
Garrett.
been our defensive coordinator. Sean Payton should have been our head coach. He should have
That'd
kept
been
Jason
nice.
Garrett
That'd
as
been nice. Wouldn't that been nice?
Sean Payton
Boy.
as our offensive coach. Wade Phillips as our defensive coach, and Jason Garrett as our offensive coach. That'd have been a pretty nice little combination.
Think about this. Sean issued down there in New Orleans that he didn't have a defensive coordinator. He'd been looking for a defensive coordinator. Wouldn't that have been nice if we'd have had Sean and then rotated and had Wade Phillips as the defensive coordinator, like you said? Man, that'd have been nice.
Because our defense would have been nasty. Because you seen, I mean, when Wade was doing it, he was really controlling the defense anyway. When he was the head coach, he was still calling a lot of the defense. So if you would have had him on it full time, and we had a lot of good players during his tenure in his era, in that time he was coaching, he had like 5.
Brother got 60,000 yards, man.
And that's Sean Payton, like
500 touchdowns almost.
You know that video? That's the type of stuff I like. You know that video after they beat, I don't know who they beat, and I posted on my thing where he was clapping, he was throwing his hands up, and then the whole team was getting crunk with him. That's what I like. I can't lie. I don't see Jason Garrett doing that. I see him trying to fake it. Like I seen that video when they were dancing, he was looking like, yeah, and I'm just like, man, go sit your ass down, Garrett. You a cornball. You're just a cornball to me. I'm sorry. I don't want to hate on you, but you're a corny.
How you doing, guys? How you doing, guys?
You know what I mean? Like he'll try to act like he's dancing. They'll be like, oh yeah, but he really don't care. He really ain't getting into it with your little fake ass. Redheads, I ain't seen a redhead win a championship yet. Besides Bill Walton. Who else?
I had one hell of an Italian sub.
Tell me what other redhead won a championship.
Oh, buddy, man. I don't know, man.
Somebody
it's crazy,
find a
man.
fact like that for me. What redheads won championships?
That is a oddly specific stat dive.
Hey, find it for me though. Because the redheads gonna be winning.
You're gonna get a lot of hate mail off of that.
I know redheads gonna hate me. Redheads gonna hate me. I love y'all, but I just don't feel they win championships. Like Andy Dalton, he ain't winning nothing. Not the red rifle.
The red rifle. And then he got mad and butthurt when my guy was big number 99. He said the red pistol.
Who?
With the red water gun. J.J. Watt when he.
Oh yeah.
J.J. Watt crazy, man. He talked about the red rifle.
Yeah, he was just like, he's weak.
He called him the Red Rocket.
Red Rocket, Red Rifle, one of them things.
Something he called him pretty much a
red
BB gun.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Red Rocket
like
is not a connotation you want.
Yeah, he looks like the dude on the Christmas Story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The bully.
I can't think of his name, but yeah.
Cry.
Yeah, he's got those ridiculous braces.
Yes, yeah, them braces.
Oh man, but hey, if I eat a lot of crow if he go out there and win a Super Bowl, I'll be the first one to go back to this episode, and we'll go
you
every
can go
year.
ahead and say it all day with me. I don't give a hell. We still won a championship. I don't give a hell.
Yeah. This show has everything. We're talking Christmas Story right now.
Yeah, I feel you. Hey, all I'm gonna do is people want to bash me. If I say something, I'm gonna bring my sister on the damn show, and she will validate that I used to back Garrett, and she hates Garrett. She hates Jason Garrett. If I could really make that understand that, I would always be like, "Come on, sis. No, don't you talk to me about Garrett. I hate him." That's what she would always say, and I'd be like, oh, "He's okay. He's all right. No, he sucks." And so I just be like, "Okay, I'm gonna let it alone." And now I'm not saying he sucks, but
But you saw all those people, and I was one of them, and I admit I was making the Landry comparison for the first years and all this stuff, as far as stats and numbers and stuff like that.
Right. But we ain't in the 70s no more.
There you go.
Yep.
You had a lot longer years to be able to do what you want.
That
now
was
you
actually
can't do that in the salary cap times. You got like what? If you're an impatient franchise, you got maybe 3 years.
Right.
If you're a solid franchise, they give you what? Maybe 5, maybe. If the owner has a real close connection to you, because you're getting X 5 and below.
Right.
The Steelers don't believe in letting them.
That Landry comparison drives me insane when people make it. I'm like, it's not even close to the same era.
There wasn't even free agency. You could keep
no.
it for
Yeah,
100 years.
You kept your players, and the players and like a lot of the coaches had other jobs. It wasn't the same thing. It wasn't a highly specialized sport at that point.
Right.
Yeah, it drives me insane when people act like, oh, apples to apples. It's exactly the same.
Because it does match up. You be like, dog, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then for all those years, he only got 2 Super Bowls out of it too. So
Yep.
I'm not trying to throw shade at Tom Landry, but you know how it goes.
The mob is forming.
The mob is coming after me.
You have besmirched the icon. You might as well have just called out Roger Staubach just now.
Come on, Roger. You could have won more Super Bowls than 2.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Jackie Smith, catch that ball. Give him a better pass.
Right.
Man, I watched that game. I cried.
Yeah.
Literally, when he dropped that ball, I cried because I thought we were gonna come back. Because I was there. I thought
you talking about Bush that
No,
dropped
I seen that game too. I seen when we beat the Broncos too. Because you know, if it had been nowadays, I mean, when that pass came to him, it wasn't a catch. Even when I was a kid, I saw that wasn't a catch. I couldn't believe the ref gave it to him because I mean, it barely just touched his hands. It hit the ground and he rolled, and it came right out of his hands. I don't know where they got the touchdown at, but we were just way more dominant than those Broncos. We killed Craig Morton and those guys, the Orange Crush they had. Randy White and Ed Too Tall Jones, Harvey Martin, those guys were just dominant. And the thorn always in our side back in them 70s for real was those Steelers, man, because it was like we could whoop everybody else, but that was the one team that didn't fear us. The Steelers wanted to kick our ass every time they played us because they didn't want to hear that American team crap. So every time they tried to play us, it was real physical. They tried to intimidate us every single time, and I felt like they did for a little bit, and I thought that was the one Super Bowl we could get them. Because the Super Bowl prior, when they beat us 21-17, they dominated us in that Super Bowl.
What was
you know who else kind of dominated us, keeping us from going to the Super Bowl?
Them San Francisco 49ers.
No. I'm talking about way. I'm talking about
Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
I didn't see them years.
To his way. Yeah, I didn't see him either.
That was before my time. I caught up in them 70s. Them Niners was a problem too because of Joe Montana. When I watched that game when Dwight Clark caught that because I thought we had him. When he pump fake, I was like, yes, we got this. And when I seen Dwight Clark catch that, I just started screaming and crying, and I couldn't believe it. And then we had a chance because Danny White took us down the field. He threw a long pass to Drew Pearson, and he caught it, but he got tackled at the last second. He had it.
Original Romo, huh?
Dog, he threw it to him, and he was right in motion, and he got tackled. I think it was Eric White. Somebody shoestring tackled him and tackled him at the 50-yard line. Then they sacked White a couple times, and it was over. But that was like at the beginning of the end for the Cowboys right after that, because then the Eagles kicked our ass a few times in those championship games, and it was just kind of bad in them 80s.
And them Redskins Super Bowls, they should make them count. You know, the damn expansion league, whatever it was.
Them NFC East years back in them 70s and 80s used to be problems. I mean, I watched Joe Theismann and John Riggins and those guys, and Phil Simms and those guys, them and Lawrence Taylor. Them dudes, like when I see these guys now, I'm saying like Khalil Mack, them, you're not better than Lawrence Taylor. I'm sorry.
Shout out to John Sparks for making a donation to help grow the nation. He said Chris Richard is for head coach. That's what he's saying.
Hell yeah, he's going to be our next head coach. If Eric fails, I believe they had little, not sneaky deals, but I believe they had something on the low, like you come over to us, you just do your thing over here, and we can put you in the fold, because he's going to be in high demand. I feel like he was already going to be a coach in waiting, and he's going to be in high demand, and I believe the philosophy that he preaches that people believe in. So we'll see. I don't want Garrett just to fail, but if he does fail, I love him to take Richard.
Most certainly, man. So, what do we have any other topics for tonight?
I think
how long we've been
man. We're hour and 25 minutes by my count, man.
Hour 25. I've been talking too much, man.
Hey, man.
Nah, that's. I mean, that's the gist of what I've seen. You know, we're in kind of part of the off season where things kind of slow down for a little bit. So, I even scanned the Bleacher Report Cowboys page just to see for anything. That's where I grabbed that Garrett likely odds to be fired thing.
It's crazy because
it's slow time.
Yeah, it's slow time. But normally, and trust me, I don't know what the Cowboys doing, but maybe they're scaling back on all of their employees. But normally, they don't go on a 6-week vacation. Nothing is on their website. It's only us just pushing out the content. So shout out to us.
That's good because
Yes.
the more they do that, sit back and chill. Sit back and chill and let us grind, because then when they like, well, I don't want to look at Broadus. Law, what's up? Tell me what you think about that player. That's what I'm talking about. You feel me? I mean, we got into this because we want them to see it from my eyes. I mean, like I said, I took scouting classes. They gave me like 12 games.
No, we got to start doing action. You said since they gave you 12 games.
What's that?
All the content we post out there, those who've been following the channel, just retag it and retweet it to Brian Broadus. Tweet it to Darreck, was it Eagleton?
Yeah, Eagleton.
Yeah. Send it out to them too as well.
Thought you were about to give me a shout out.
Yeah, but you know what? That's
DDP too as well. You send it to them.
We gonna. I might if you, I'll send yours. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Dallas Cowboys be cool. That'd be sweet. But at the end of the day, they still will be controlling things. And I came in this thing to be independent. I mean, that's what I came in this to do. And that's where we going. Well, that's why I hope we stay, because we ain't gonna be conducted by the masses. People want to see the real eyes. They don't want to see the fake eyes. They don't want to see the commercial stuff. They don't want to see the phony stuff. They want to hear and see the real. And that's what I want to give. And I know that's what you want to give. And I feel like that's what we're trying to give. And that's why we are on our grind all the time to make this the best form, because we want them to see and hear the real stuff, not the little fake stuff the commercial things. Nobody wants to hear that crap no more, man.
Papa John's.
Nobody wants to hear that crap no more, man.
No. But because if I go on one of those shows, I can't say live like 95. Y'all know what I'm saying? Pull up the hen dog. Y'all can't say all that stuff. You can be like, hey, wait a minute.
Like, hey, get you on out there. That's why we got to get our own channel and say their own damn thing. I mean, you feel me?
Yeah,
don't be on these channels and get your own damn channel, and then we say our own damn thing, and then all them people gonna come over there because they're like, we like listening to them because they say whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just ideas.
What's good, man? What up?
Just ideas of running and moving and shit.
Nothing much, man. So do we? I guess good for the wrap up then, probably, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, it's getting late for James as well. Anyway, I always forget. I always forget about the time difference.
Yeah, but I'm off because I scheduled this because I love y'all so much. Monday I came in. I said I'm changing my schedule for Thursday because I don't like being late. I hate being late and getting here late, and people feel like they're waiting on me. I don't like that. It pisses me off. So I scheduled it, and I'm off tomorrow. So guess what? It's happy days right here, but that don't mean I'm gonna stay on here all night. But I am still.
All right.
We got a plan this weekend. Hopefully, me, Botch, and some more cats. We talking about doing the 53-man roster, like our prediction. To speed up this off season. So
let's go, because I've already seen a couple guys do them, and I seen their list, and my list was almost as close as his, and that was just off the top of my head, just looking at from what I seen. But the thing that just pisses me off is, Law, this is what I just say.
Go ahead.
Is when we talk about that 53-man roster, I got to look at the damn players. I don't want to hear it anymore from these guys. I don't want to hear Marsh Little was doing good. As much as I respect Brian Broadus, I don't want to keep hearing him how good Marsh Little is doing from his eyes anymore. We need to get to that action so I can see him every day. So when I come back, I can say, this dude is not making the 53-man roster because I seen him.
So this is gonna be like volume 1 then, and then we do
volume
2,
1.
and then we do volume 2.
We gotta be up there, Law. We gotta do it.
When they in Oxnard? My wife was just not talking about that. She was like,
I'm going down there in August.
It's in August. What, the first week of August?
It's July all the way through August.
Damn, for real? Okay.
Yeah, and then they do like the last few weeks in Texas at Ford, but it's like a month and a half in Cali. They go all July. Like they get there like mid-July, like the 20-something, and they go all the way to like mid-August, and then the last couple months is down in Texas. But I'm trying to go there like maybe the first, second week of August, because it's like it'll be a weekend, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Find out which are the best practice days so you can really see the action, because I don't want to see them just walking around. I want to see them damn drills. I want to see the drills.
Yes, indeed. And as we try to close this thing around, you was talking about PayPal earlier before we got on there.
Yes, sir.
How can they help you get out there?
I mean, get on this PayPal. I mean, we're constructing it right now. So it's not all the way official. So I don't want to say get out there and do something. They're like, where the hell you at? And I don't want to just say that. But we got our little PayPal reader. We're getting everything in the process. So if you definitely want to donate to the Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James page, we're gonna have that up in full effect. I ain't about trying to get no money and being big, but you know what? I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm trying to get to that action. I'm using all my dough to get to this action because I want to give the best content out there, along with all of us. You feel me?
Hold on, not to cut you off, but you want to continue to spit the fire, right? And how you want to spit the fire if you out there watching and seeing. So those who out there want to support and help this man grow and help us all grow, y'all can help us out by making a donation. So this man can get out there. We not trying to bag. We not like the 4-letter network. No. We not like the NFL network either. We don't have tons of money just flying and pouring out of the sky. We need help at some time. So that's all I'm saying. You know.
And we just want to get to that action because, like I said, I have a passion for this. I know you do, Law, and I know you do too, DDP, and so does Producer G. We came in this for that passion, and I just want to get to that action. I want to see these guys because I coached. I mean, even though it was youth and you know, ninth graders, I mean, I've been around it long enough. I played it. I want to see it, and I feel like I got a good enough eye where you'll feel it and understand it. And I want to bring it back to y'all, tape it, show it, break it down. All y'all can get into it, jump into it, so we can really just have a good time. Be like, yo, we jump on that page, we have a good time. We love listening to these guys because they bring the real, and that's just what I want to do and continue to do for everybody out there.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Respect. All right. Well, James, tell them where they can find you.
Well, they can check out Silver and Blue Nation. We are on Facebook, Big Game James, but you can check out Silver and Blue Nation every Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We stream live on like 4 or 5 networks on Dallas Prospect, Law Nation. We're so gracious that y'all let us do that. We're also on the YouTube, Silver and Blue Nation YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You can also hit us up on, if you don't, the podcast, you can get us on SoundCloud, Google Play, and iTunes also as well. You can check out the Big Game James page on Facebook. It's just right now. I have created my YouTube Big Game James page. I just haven't got the content, just slowly getting the ball rolling with that. But you know, it's going to be on and popping, and you know, like I said, just trying to go hard for everybody, the fans or anybody out there that just wants to see that good stuff. I want to get it out there for y'all.
Yes, indeed. That's good stuff right there, man.
All right. Well, for Dallas Prospect, you can find us on Twitter at Dallas Prospect. We're also on Facebook. And don't forget, of course, to check out the website, thedallasprospect.com. We are your home for Dallas sports and all things pop culture. And, yeah, just trying to keep grinding away, keep growing the show. We've been doing a bunch of Mavs content stuff lately for all the NBA draft stuff. And man, we got some good support on that the last few days, man. Like I put out a lot of content. Yeah, we gained like 200 subscribers in like a week. So yeah, it's really going, and I'm glad because that's the whole point of the Prospect is I think it's funny when people ask if we're like just a Cowboys page. Like I love the Cowboys. I can talk Cowboys all day. But the idea is to be like a full, well-rounded network around the Dallas sports scene as well. So that's of course going to include some basketball and ideally even eventually some more like Rangers and Stars and stuff like that too. I just don't have the assets to do more on that. But anyway, yeah, check us out. And if you like the page and support it, give us a subscribe or support us on Patreon. Helps us create more content and hire contributors.
Although I'm a diehard Laker fan, who did the Dallas
we don't talk about
draft?
that.
Yes.
Luka Doncic.
Yes, I was going to ask you what you thought about that pick.
What is his measurables? What's his height? What's his
6'8"?
6'8". He's basically a point forward, 19 years old, and he essentially he played in the European League, so already second best league in the world, and that's better than D1 basketball essentially. And he was already an MVP, the equivalent of their like playoff MVP, won the championship there this past just like a month ago probably. And yeah, dude's 19, point forward, 6'8", incredibly good playmaker. Does have the ball in his hands a lot, so they're gonna have to figure out the dynamic with him and Dennis Smith. With Dennis probably playing with the ball out of his hands a little bit, playing off the ball. But I think they can certainly do that. It's just a matter of figuring out how it all works, and I think they do have a coach that can figure that out, and Rick Carlisle. So they got a really good prospect. They traded up from 5 to 3 to get him. So It's not necessarily who I wanted, but it sounds like the guy I was interested in was Michael Porter Jr., and it sounds like his back was enough of a red flag that he was talked about going as high as 2. He fell all the way to like 14. So something in his medical reports was up.
Something's going wrong with that back, and he had and it took out a lot of time. So I feel you on that.
Yep.
I like the pick. I was a Mamba guy.
Mamba, where Mamba went to?
Orlando.
Went to, Orlando.
You gonna die out there.
I just I like Darreck, but I can't really complain about him because, like you said, he's a 6'8" point forward. He's a creator. You watch his tape; he's a good player. He's a really good player, and he's young. He's only 19, and I think him and Dennis Smith Jr. will work well together because I feel like Dennis Smith Jr. can play off the ball where he can go off of it, and they can kind of interchange. I think it'll be good. But I guess I like them big man. I think when you get a big man with that kind of size, he changes the game for you, and then you can kind of use everything else around him because he changes everything else. When you get one of those true big men, it changes the game for you and your team.
Yeah, we're gonna do a whole breakdown on the channel, me and Ennie and James, if you want to jump in on that side.
Oh, I'm gotta jump into that.
James, it seems like you know a lot about that basketball, boy.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it real. I know a lot of basketball too, big dog. I used to play it and I was pretty good at. I was
perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Bosh was how you talking about? He was a dog on that football. I was nice on that basketball court, dog.
Very nice.
Thank you for tuning in to the Low Nation Film Session as we take a deeper look at Double Check. He's 6'8".
Yeah.
He score out of it. Who is comparables to, man? Who you compare to?
I would say his comp's got a Mono Ginobili feel.
Whoa,
but bigger.
Bigger Mono.
Of the top end of the draft, I would say he has the highest floor.
No way. Okay, I'm gonna take a look.
He's
at
a
him.
playmaker. Like if you see him when you see him get the ball, you'll see instantly that he can play. Like you can see
very good vision and passing.
And the size, and he's fluid and he's smooth. Like you're seeing a 6'8". He's not 6'4", 6'5". He's 6'8". That's like you seeing Ben Simmons and those type guys coming down the court, and he's not little 6'8". He's got size on him.
Yep.
So he can post you up too. So he can do a variety of things, and he's only going to get better. I feel like he's only going to get better. He's the type of guy that he has a very high ceiling because I think he's just going to continue to get better, and he's going to be an all-around type player. He'll be able to get you rebounds. He'll be able to get you those assists, and he'll be able to score when he needs to. But he really likes to get people involved, it seems like.
Man, as soon as this post, man, I'm going to have to cut this section out and put it on there. Mavs talk, because this is some good stuff, man. It's good stuff for Mav fans. There's a lot of connections out here with Mav organization. And although, I didn't really follow the Mavs that much because, I followed the Lakers. I'm from Mississippi, so I saw somebody say, hey, Law, you a bandwagon guy. I mean, who I supposed to root for? I'm in Mississippi, man, So, it's pen to tell on a donkey when you're out there. It's just that you had to root for the team that they played most on the TV. And in the early 80s, hell, the Saints wasn't winning nothing, so they only showed the Cowboys game. And my uncle, he was like a diehard Cowboys fan. And my father, he liked the Green Bay. So, hey, I fell in love with the Cowboys. I love the color. I didn't understand why Green Bay was green and yellow and stuff like that. It looked funny to me. So I fell in Cowboys color, and I followed the Lakers throughout that time frame too as well, because they showed them on TV more than any other team. And my granddad, he was a diehard Boston fan, right? So we used to always have those kind of quick rivalries between them two. And then, the emergence of the Chicago Bears, not Chicago Bears, but Chicago Bears, of course, but the Chicago Bulls in the 90s. And guess what? I didn't jump ship. I didn't like Jordan. I still to this day, I'm not a big Michael Jordan fan. I've always been a diehard Lakers fan, even through the 90s. And now you look at the early 2000s, that's when we started back winning. So it is what it is, guys.
Yeah.
But with that being said, that's all the time I have, guys. Don't forget to like this channel, subscribe, share this information if possible. If you know a Dallas Cowboys fan, if you know a Lakers fan too as well, you can share it.
No, a Mavs fan. There ain't a lot of us.
And Mavs.
We're out there.
Yeah, and shout out to Dirk. He's gonna come back for another year.
I don't know, but he should.
Dirk will be back this year.
I mean, why not? He has the type of game where he can play that long because he's a shooter. But people act like the Mavs have been bums for a long time. No, They had a string of 19 consecutive playoff appearances. So it's not like Dallas Mavericks were bums out there. We was winning a lot of games every single year. We was averaging like 55 games wins a year. So it's not like they're bums and we've been bums. So they don't need to say nothing like that and just shut the hell up if they are.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you this though, the owner, he broke that team away. He should have found a way to keep that team together. I think that he broke that team apart.
2011.
I think what hurt us when we should have never let Tyson Chandler go. That pissed me off. When we let Tyson Chandler go, that hurt me.
Yeah, he was
our tone setter to me. Like he changed it. Like him and Dirk, he just worked so well with us. I love Tyson Chandler when he played with us. He gave our team that attitude that we needed, and I feel like that's what we need again. I feel like right now we're soft. I just feel like right now the Mavericks are soft. We don't have that strong interior, that guy that's in that middle. Just when we got Noel, thinking that he could be the eraser, but it's just been a mess with him there. And I feel like they were looking for that edge guy, that's got an attitude, and we don't have that. And I feel like teams bully us.
Yes, indeed, man.
We'll have to definitely save some of the basketball talk for Sunday.
Yeah, save it up, man. Hey, guys, y'all hit it up, man. Hit it up. And we finna roll like dice on out of here, man. But shout out to Miss Jackie, Savage Time, Taco Bell Bomb. Shout out to Chris Longley. Hey, we finna run like OJ the first time, not the second and third time. You know how OJ got away when he ran away with the hearse. But that's been our time. And remember, you guys are listening to nothing but the bass. Salute. We're out.
Peace.
Peace. Yeah, man.